The Chicago business scene is as diverse as the city itself. But we don't always hear from the entrepreneurs who keep the Chicago economy colorful. That's where I come in. I'm Micaela Brown, and this is the Minority Report. I was 25 when I tore my Achilles playing a game of flag football. Know what Daliah Saper did when she was 25? Running her own law office. Since then, she's only argued in front of the Illinois Supreme Court, appeared in half a dozen news outlets, and landed herself adjunct professorships at 2 different law schools, where she imparts her expert knowledge of intellectual and internet law to the next generation of attorneys. Or, it would be the next generation if some of her students weren't still older than her. Saper's just 33. So, intellectual property. I don't know if everyone knows exactly what the heck that means.
Okay.
So why don't you help?
So the intellectual property work that I do centers around licensing of content, hence the entertainment law. It centers around protecting your brand, that's the trademark registrations, protecting creative works, that's the copyright registrations, and then we draft non-disclosure agreements and confidentiality agreements and non-solicitation agreements. And between all those things, that's the IP practice, and then we also have the just business transactional and litigation practice.
So what's one of the most craziest cases you've ever took on?
The one that I took the Illinois Supreme Court.
The Illinois Supreme Court one?
It got a lot of media attention. It involved a very similar fact pattern to the Micae case, if you remember that. My client essentially was approached by someone on a TV show chat room, a message board, and that person started engaging her in a relationship, introduced her to a guy who then she had a long-term, 1.5 year online romantic relationship with, only to find out it was one big hoax.
So like a true catfish?
It was a true catfish. It was catfishing before catfishing was really kind of a thing. We filed suit for a variety of claims, including intentional infliction of emotional distress and fraud. And with respect to the fraud count, the court, and that's what was debated at the Illinois Supreme Court level, was can you sue someone civilly for fraud if all they're doing is lying about who they are online? Ultimately, the Supreme Court wanted to limit the parameters over what you can sue people for. Go figure.
Right.
And we won the case on appeal, but we lost it at the Supreme Court level. But still, the conversation, it was an interesting one. And your heart races when you're about to step in front of the Illinois Supreme Court.
In Chicago, the tech community, the startup community is booming.
Yeah.
How is this affecting your business?
Oh my God. Okay, tech scene's been the best thing that's happened to Saper Law. And I can give you a great example because when I first started, what I had to do was figure out who's going to hire a 24, 25-year-old woman to do legal work.
Right.
And I said, I'm just going to go to things I like. And then I said, I really am into this whole tech and entrepreneurship and web-based stuff. And I found out about this thing called Tech Cocktail. The second one, I said, can I have a little booth or something? They're like, sure. I literally took cardboard boxes, went to Kinko's, we loved Kinko's in the beginning, and I had a little booth with my fold-out cardboard box with, trademarks, copyrights, and business. And
no way.
And then since then, the whole Chicago microcosm of tech started percolating, and I was already there. I kind of grew up with some of these companies, and as a result, I was already in place when they needed an attorney.
Do you feel that the law needs to change with how technology is growing? And is it changing?
For sure, the law is changing, but the legal system, the judges are still not up to speed. And half the challenge is explaining Pinterest, for example, to a judge who's been sitting on the bench and is still using desktops from 1999, which is really what's happening over there.
I can imagine. But when most people think of attorneys, there is the stigma. What are some of the things that you consciously do to make sure that you don't have that persona?
Yeah, some of that stigma is well earned. I mean, I deal with all sorts of attorneys, opposing counsel, and let me tell you, sometimes a case can be won or lost, not on the merits or the facts, but on the relationship between the attorneys. So there are certain attorneys who think that zealous representation is being a complete dick. I believe that it's not about how forceful you are, how strongly you go into court and scream up and down. It's about the strength of your legal arguments, and people want to be treated with respect.
So you grew up in Iran.
Yeah.
And what age did you move here?
I was 6 when we moved.
Okay.
So not too many years, but certainly it shaped who I am because it was a real difficult sacrifice for my parents to make to move and uproot
Absolutely.
themselves. It was an unspoken thing that you know, make something of yourself. Don't just sit around and be a bum.
Your daughter's on the phone with you. She's about to make a life-changing decision. She has a couple of job offers on the table. Her phone battery is about to die, and she needs to say, Mom, I need to make this decision. And you give her 5 words of advice. What would it be? Only 5 words, because the phone's dying.
I don't know about 5, but I would say trust your intuition, and everything happens for a reason. Those are my I mean, the thing is, you can't predict life, and you only make the choices you can with the facts and set of situations that are available to you. And things kind of always work out.
So it's a freaking wrap because we're getting kicked out of our shoot.
Let's do it.